ये कहना कि न्यूजीलैंड में हज़ारों लेक्स हैं या हज़ारों लेक्स के बीच में एक छोटा सा देश है, दोनों बातों में ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं है। पर फिर भी इन सब लेक्स के बीच एक छोटे से लेक को देखने दुनिया भर से लोग आते हैं। इसीलिए नहीं कि ये सबसे बड़ा है, इसीलिए भी नहीं कि ये सबसे गहरा है या कहीं कोई खूबसूरत सा हिडन वाटरफॉल हो। लोग यहाँ आते हैं एक रिफ्लेक्शन की तलाश में। जी हाँ, हम बात कर रहे हैं लेक मैथेसन की। ये एक ऐसा लेक है जो माउंट कुक और माउंट टास्मन के रिफ्लेक्शन को इतनी खूबसूरती से मिरर करता है कि ये न्यूजीलैंड के सबसे आइकॉनिक स्पॉट्स में से एक बन गया है। बस एक छोटी सी प्रॉब्लम है, ये रिफ्लेक्शन हर दिन नहीं दिखता। और आज का वेदर देखकर तो ऐसा लग रहा था कि शायद हम इतनी दूर रिफ्लेक्शन नहीं, डिसअपॉइंटमेंट देखने आए हैं। On the way from Hokitika to Fox Glacier, we arrived at Lake Matheson. It is one of New Zealand's most photographed spots. But there is a problem with that. Almost every photo you see online looks perfect. Perfect reflection, perfect mountains, perfect weather. What nobody tells you is that those photos are basically winning the weather lottery. And I call it a weather lottery because if you want to see the perfect reflection, you can't just show up on any day at any time. A lot of the things have to go your way. The sky needs to be clear, the wind needs to stay calm, the rain needs to stay away, and most importantly, the lake needs to be still enough to become a mirror. Unfortunately, judging by today's weather, our chances weren't looking great. लेकिन शायद इसी अनसर्टेनिटी ने इस सफ़र को और भी मज़ेदार बना दिया था। For once, we weren't driving towards a destination. हम एक सवाल के जवाब की तरफ बढ़ रहे थे। और सवाल सिर्फ इतना सा था कि क्या आज हमें वो फेमस रिफ्लेक्शन देखने को मिलेगा? As we got closer, the scenery started changing again. The open views disappeared, the road narrowed, the rainforest grew thicker. And suddenly, it felt like we weren't approaching a lake anymore. It felt like we were entering a secret. Perhaps one of New Zealand's best kept secrets. And just like that, we arrived at Lake Matheson. There are a few viewpoints along this loop, and most people stop at the very first one, take a couple of photos, tick Lake Matheson off their list, and head back. पर अगर आप भी उन लोगों में से हैं जो यहीं से वापस मुड़ गए, तो बधाई हो, आप रिफ्लेक्शन देखने आए थे और रिफ्लेक्शन तक पहुंचने से पहले ही वापस चले गए। As soon as we entered the trail, the first thing we noticed was how different this forest felt. Dense native rainforest, towering trees stretching high above us, thick layers of moss covering almost everything in sight, and bird calls echoing from every direction. The deeper we walked, the more this place started feeling ancient. Not old, ancient. The kind of forest that looks like it has existed exactly the same way for thousands of years. At times, it genuinely felt like we had wandered onto the set of Jurassic Park. बस बैकग्राउंड में थीम म्यूजिक बजना बाकी था, क्योंकि एनवायरनमेंट देखकर तो लग रहा था कि किसी भी मोमेंट सामने से कोई डायनासोर निकलकर हेलो बोल देगा। As we kept walking deeper into the forest, the excitement slowly started building, because we knew that somewhere ahead was the view that had made Lake Matheson famous. And then we reached our first viewpoint and finally saw the lake. For a moment, we wondered, is this it? क्या यही वो famous reflection spot है? Nobody seemed interested in giving us the answer, or truth be told, no one was available in sight to help us with any questions. Yes, it's that isolated. So we did what every tourist does. Took a few photos, convinced ourselves we'd figure it out later, and kept following the trail. Would you like a fun fact? During the trail, my mind was constantly searching for that stick, which was not exactly a stick, if you know what I mean. Coming from Australia, which is famous for its wildlife, I'd call it a legit concern. Naturally, this is the first thing I googled after finishing the trek. Is it common to see snakes in New Zealand? But the answer shocked me. There are no native land snakes here. Zero. बिल्कुल भी नहीं. Which means you can walk through forests, lakes, mountains and trails without constantly wondering what might be hiding in the bushes. Meanwhile, in Australia, every time you see a stick on the trail, your brain immediately starts a risk assessment meeting. तो इसका जवाब ढूंढने के लिए आपको वैसे तो हिस्ट्री और ज्योग्राफी दोनों की बुक्स टटोलनी पड़ेंगी. But thankfully, we have AI. So I got the answer almost instantly. Here is the fact. The answer goes back millions of years. New Zealand split away from the ancient supercontinent Gondwana long before snakes managed to establish themselves here. And because the country remained isolated by vast oceans for millions of years, snakes simply never made it. Today, New Zealand has some of the strictest biosecurity laws in the world to make sure it stays that way. So for once, instead of looking down every few seconds, we could actually focus on the scenery. This is the reflection lookout. And if you are with me so far, I'm sorry, as both you and I didn't win the weather lottery this time. So this is the best we could capture. On a good day, the lake perfectly reflects Mount Cook and Mount Tasman, creating one of the most famous views in the entire country. Before coming here, we thought Lake Matheson was all about a reflection. And yes, the reflection is beautiful. That's what brings most people here. But by the end of the walk, we realized this place offers something far more valuable. Somewhere along the trail, We started falling in love with the silence, not the absence of sound, because the forest is full of birds, rustling leaves, and dripping water, but the absence of noise, the noise of notifications, the noise of headlines, the noise of constantly consuming something every waking minute of the day. For a little while, there was no screen demanding our attention, no endless scrolling, no urgency to keep up with the world. It was just us, the forest, and our own thoughts. And in a strange way, that felt rarer than the famous reflection itself. We may not have seen Lake Matheson at its absolute best. The mountain stayed hidden behind the clouds, and the reflection wasn't quite the postcard image we had seen online. But maybe that's okay, because while we didn't get the perfect reflection on the water, we did get a chance to reflect within ourselves. And honestly, that feels like a pretty good trade. A win-win, if you ask me. If you are traveling through New Zealand's west coast, don't just stop for the famous photo. Take your time, walk the full track, and enjoy one of the few places in the world which is still so raw, so untouched. And the bonus, where sticks are just sticks. And if you are still with me, don't forget to drop a comment below, as that's an added motivation to create more. I'll see you in my next one. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.